Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at some great budget locomotives. Good value in the hobby of model railroading can be sort of hard to find, especially in the realm of O-scale. I think a lot of people are left just buying modern starter sets when they don't really want a lot of the stuff in them, and they'd prefer to have something maybe a little simpler that doesn't cost so much. And that's understandable when you're spending $400 on a train set. The good thing about being in this hobby in the modern day is you can find the old trains for much better prices. Granted, they don't have the same level of features, and I'm gonna be honest, all the bullcrap that most modern trains have. And comparing newer trains to older trains is sometimes like comparing apples to oranges. But, you know, at the end of the day, they're both something that's meant to go around the track and make you happy. So I'm going to be talking about a few locomotives that I personally feel present the best value for money in O-gauge model railroads. Now, the order is going to be completely arbitrary. This isn't a top 5 video or whatever, but I'm going to go through a few nice budget locomotives. Here we have the Marx 666. This locomotive, honestly, is one of the best pieces you could ever get for 20 bucks. Specifically, I got this locomotive for 20 bucks, but usually you can find it for, well, around 20 bucks. I don't think I've ever seen one over 40 bucks in person, and I think anywhere over like 50 bucks is probably a little too much for one of these, but for the prices that you can find these guys, they're excellent. A lot of people tend to not buy them because, well, it's not a Lionel, so it can't be good. Well, no, these are fantastic locomotives, and, well, because people don't usually buy them because they aren't a Lionel piece, they can be found for great deals. This Marx 666 with the double reduction motor, which is compatible with all Lionel track, can be found for less than $50. And in my mind, it's very much superior to the Lionel Scout stuff, because you can actually open up the motor of this and work on it, you know, maintain it. It feels like when a Scout craps out, you know, you can't really do anything about it. But when the 666 has a problem, just take it apart, clean everything, put it back together, and it runs like clockwork. Some of these locomotives, in fact I think most of them, have smoke, and they all have a headlight. And of course they're equipped with a nice heavy die-cast shell. So if you're looking for a locomotive that packs a punch in terms of value for money and maintainability and overall performance, I'd go with the Marx 666. Next we have, I would say, the diesel version of this, which is the Lionel Alco FA, specifically the late post-war and MPC versions with the frame that looks like this. The shells are easy to swap out if you ever want to have multiple shells share the same base, and they're very easy to work on. In fact, the first locomotive that I ever did a resto on was an Alco FA. I've seen them for around $30 to $50. I'd say that that is a perfectly reasonable price for these. I have seen them for less in poor condition, but I have purchased running locomotives of this type for $30. And I'd say for particularly rare or in good condition examples, anywhere above $60 or $70 is a little steep. But these engines are fun to customize, and they look good with 027 rolling stock. If you're into electric locomotives, unfortunately there's not a lot of options, period. But in terms of budget, you are kind of covered. As someone who really likes electric locomotives, as you can probably tell from my layout, I try to search out good deals on them all the time. This, I think, is a prime example in EP5 electric. This is an MPC era variant that was purchased in like-new condition in box for $70. It runs really good and it's easy to work on, and I'm quite the fan. Again, these are also fun to customize, especially if you like big logos, because there's a giant flat side. They run well, and like most old electric locomotive models, you can wire it up so it can run off of hot catenary. I'd say the rectifier locomotive is in the same sort of ballpark as the EP5. I don't currently own one, but I'd like to get one. You can find them for $100 or less usually, around that range. But overall, if you're going to get an electric locomotive, I'd say MPC era EP5s or E33s is definitely the way to go. The next locomotive that I'd like to talk about is what I consider one of the great zeniths of model railroad locomotives. It lives at the intersection between good value for money, good looks, and great performance. It's the Lionel F3. There's a reason why things are popular, and well, these locomotives are quite popular. That's because they're really good. They have a lot of steel and die-cast components, and usually can be found with 2 motors and magnet traction. Some of them even have horns. This AA pair was found at a train show for 75 bucks. Pretty good deal. Of course, I had to do some minor cosmetic modifications to make them look good, but other than that, I feel like I did pretty well. I feel like 75 bucks is pretty reasonable for a powered unit in decent condition. You can certainly find them for a lot less, especially if they've been tampered with in some way. But overall, these engines run really good. They're not hard to work on. You have to be, I'd say, a little more competent to work on one of these versus an Alco FA. But working on these certainly isn't rocket science, at least not to the degree that a lot of modern locomotives are. All I really have to say about the Lionel F3s is that they are pure electromechanical bliss. This is just my personal guide to locomotives that I think beginners of different tastes would enjoy. If you have any more suggestions, make sure to let me know in the comments. And I always look at the comments, and I always appreciate the comments quite a bit. So, thanks for watching, and have a great day.